Let's dive into the discussions shaping the nation.
Tá mig díreoirste winter in Palestina, agus an cinenne díthú atá siúil in Arnanam, agus atá muid anseo ag cant, agus bríre milse rá agibhse gan bartar be. Inné sa cuairt, dúirt blinne nigrála. Israel has closed all crossings and it has turned Rafah itself, once a refuge for almost 1.5 million displaced Palestinians, into a post-apocalyptic wasteland. At the weekend alone, 52 people, children, women and men, were slaughtered. In addition to the 51,000 Palestinians already killed, 70% of whom are women and children. Over 120,000 Palestinians reported injured. Israel has systematically destroyed 95% of Gaza's hospitals and maternity clinics. The Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance told us Israel began its blockade, and since then not a single Taoiseach, not a single trunk carrying food, fuel, medicine or any other essentials has been allowed in, no matter how critical. And just in case you were in any doubt, the Defence Minister, Israel Katz in Israel, has told us Israel's policy is clear. Just in case we were in any doubt at all, no humanitarian aid is about to enter Gaza. Preventing humanitarian aid to Gaza is one of the main tools of pressure. No one is going to get any aid. Taoiseach, I've said repeatedly, I think my best thing would be to stand here in silence, really, at what is happening in our name, genocide, while we use sweet words and do little else. And we boast that we are better than any other country, and that measuring stick is really very low. Yesterday, again, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Assistance told us, we know, he laid out, that people are thirsty. We know that solid waste is piling up. We know that people are trapped under the rubble and living on the rubble. We know that the land is shrinking with displacement orders. We know that fishers are being shot at sea and that nowhere is safe. He says all of that, and I'll go on to what we see. We have seen the images of children's bodies being thrown from one building to another due to the force of the bombing. We have seen the videos of families being burnt alive. This is the Office for Coordination of Human Assistance, not my words. We have seen the bodies of our colleagues who have been killed. We have seen the total and complete destruction of infrastructure in Gaza and all around us. We have seen patients to be turned away after the hospital has been bombed. I wish I could go on, Taoiseach, but what I'm asking you is, can you please tell me what specific action you're going to take, including the Occupied Territories Bill, stopping trade with Gaza, inspecting the planes in Shannon, at the very least, to make our words mean something.
Yeah, Deputy, I've been very, very consistent in this House, and the government has been very, very consistent in this House in its condemnation of Israeli attacks on Gaza and the bombardment and continuing bombardment of Gaza. Absolutely consistent and without question. We've taken a whole range of steps since the outbreak of this terrible war and since the horrific attack by Hamas on October the 7th, which also deserves to be roundly condemned, and I've done that too. But the blockade of the last 50 days, where no food, no medicines, and no essential supplies have been allowed into Gaza, is a war crime. Of that, in our view, there is no doubt. It contravenes international humanitarian law. It is horrific in its enactment and in its implementation. Now, Ireland has supported strongly UNRWA, I think about 58 million, significantly per capita ahead of others. That's not the point, but we have not only supported it financially, but diplomatically, politically. We took efforts to make sure that when the storm was blowing over, when there was a lot of efforts to try and undermine UNRWA, Ireland stood up and said to the herd that was going in that direction, stop, we need to continue to support UNRWA, because it's the only organisation that can play any meaningful role in the reconstruction of Gaza and also in the continuing provision of humanitarian supplies into Gaza. And there has to be an immediate opening up of humanitarian access. We have recognised the state of Palestine. We were a lot of pressure in this House for us to do that, but we did it with other countries to try and create leverage with the Arab Peace Plan, to try and get momentum behind that. So with Norway, with Spain, Slovenia and others, we collectively did that. And we've also intervened in the South African case before the ICJ in terms of the case of genocide, and we've put in a very thoughtful, I would argue, strong and comprehensive legal intervention around the issue of the prevention of humanitarian aid in time of war, as inviting the court to broaden its definitions in terms of both intention and in terms of that issue of preventing humanitarian aid into a conflict area, and in this case into Gaza, has been broadly in line with the Convention's definition. Again, that I think was a well-informed, which took a lot of criticism from different quarters, but nonetheless was an intervention, I think, that was considered and very well informed, and has greater credibility because of that internationally than it would otherwise have been. So it wasn't just a political intervention or a superficial intervention, it was a substantive one.
Connolly.
I think the bottom line is we have to do everything. What we can do is we can add with others to keep the pressure on through all the international fora that we're members of. But we're not responsible, and it's not in our name, the behaviour of Minister Katz or indeed Smotrich or indeed Ben-Gvir and others.
It is our responsibility, Taoiseach. We have an obligation to prevent genocide. We have an obligation not to be complicit in genocide. Yes, it is our job to do something. It is particularly our job as a country that was colonised, and that's exactly what has happened in relation to Israel's colonisation of Gaza and Palestine. We have a duty as a republic, as an independent sovereign state, to take action. Doctors Without Borders, it's a mass grave of Palestinians and those coming to their assistance. Those coming to their assistance. I challenge all of us to stand up and stop the genocide that's taking place in our name, because we are complicit. We're allowing Shannon. We're doing nothing about planes coming through Shannon to go to punish and murder Palestinians. We are doing nothing to progress the Occupied Territories Bill. We are increasing our export of dual-use goods and so on. We are trading with Israel as part of the EU bloc. And you stand here today and take pride that we have done something. I have praised you in the past for standing up and recognising Palestine. I no longer praise you. Genocide is going on in our name.
Thank you, Deputy.
I never used the word pride. So don't put words in my mouth, please. I never used that word, nor did I use the word boast. Everything within our capacity to have an impact on this situation we have been doing. And we shouldn't overinflate either the impact of other measures that you've mentioned. There are no planes leaving Shannon for Gaza. You have made an assertion that there are, and there are not. There are not.
Deputies,
and I have to say, Deputy, I respect you a lot, and I respect your good faith on these issues, to a point though, because I do often get the sense that sometimes the debate on Palestine in this House and elsewhere is more about trying to create division between the public, the people and the government of the day. That is my genuine sense, because I've been through this since the beginning of the war, and that is a genuine takeaway I have from some of the protestations and even the interruptions that there are certain people on the far left in particular interrupt various meetings we've had, endeavouring to disrupt. That sounds fine if people want to do that, but it's not advancing, I would argue.
Thank you.
In my view, sensible, logical and rational debate as best as we can. What's going on is appalling, Deputy. No one has a monopoly of virtue on the question in this House, nor should one seek to.
In accordance with standing order.
Like, share, and subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.